This is LBC News.
Hello, good evening. It is Steve Holden here. Stay right there because we will bring you that exclusive interview between my LBC colleague Ian Dale and the Chancellor Rachel Reeves talking about her spring statement very soon. But first, we will cross the Atlantic because an American magazine has now published what it says is a timeline of war plans shared by the US Defense Secretary in that now infamous group chat that included a journalist. In defending the security glitch, Mike Waltz has said nobody was texting war plans. It is another twist in this saga. Let's speak live to our US correspondent, Simon Mark. Simon.
Another extraordinary turn of the news cycle here in Washington, D.C., Steve. And the question of the day is, if it looks like a war plan, if it reads like a war plan, is it really a war plan? Because Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic, the reporter who was inadvertently added to that group chat with a whole array of top Trump officials from Vice President J.D. Vance on down, upped the ante today after his reputation was dragged through the mud late yesterday by senior Trump administration officials, including the president, who described the reporter as a sleazebag, and also after President Donald Trump said that there was no classified information contained in that Signal group chat. Well, Mr. Goldberg appears to have concluded, along doubtless with the Atlantic's lawyers, that if President Trump was saying there was no classified information contained in the chat, as Commander-in-Chief and as President of the United States, that must indicate that he had basically decided to declassify all the information in the chat. So this morning, Jeffrey Goldberg published it, and it absolutely is a war plan. It is a timeline of classified information. Weather is favourable, typed Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth at 11:44 Washington time, 30 minutes before the March 15th military strikes began. He went on to type, just confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. He then lays out the precise timetable for military action that is going to stretch out over the following 3 hours or so, including plans for a 1:45 p.m. Washington time airstrike to kill a Houthi commander in the Yemeni capital Sana'a. Hegseth writes, target terrorist is at his known location, and he argues that because the target terrorist was already at his known location, an F-18 first strike window should be on time. This text goes on through, as I say, 3 hours of military plans and culminates at 3:36 p.m. Washington time with an entry that says F-18 second strike starts, also first sea-based Tomahawks launched. So, as I say, it looks very much like a war plan to everybody other than the President of the United States, other figures within his national security entourage, and the man who typed those words, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
But there is a very clear TikTok of precisely the military assault on the Yemeni capital Sana'a that Jeffrey Goldberg then watched over social media play out, at which point he realised that he really had been in a chat with Pete Hegseth and all of his colleagues. At the White House...
What I can say definitively is what I just spoke to the president about, and he continues to have confidence in his national security team.
Caroline Leavitt saying that the president has no plans to fire anybody over all of this.
I would characterize this messaging thread as a policy discussion, a sensitive policy discussion, surely, amongst high-level cabinet officials and senior staff. Terrorists that were allowed to run wild by the Biden administration were killed because of the direction and the determination of this president and his team.
So they continue to circle the wagons at the White House, but there is, I think, a growing fear that they might also be assembling a circular firing squad. And one top official who is facing massive questions today is Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence. Regular listeners will remember that 24 hours ago, when she was appearing before the Senate Intelligence Committee, Ms. Gabbard insisted there had been no classified information that appeared in that chat, no kind of timeline, no kind of operational details relating to the assault that would very quickly begin on the Yemeni capital Sana'a. Today, she was back for more testimony, this time in front of the House of Representatives Intelligence Committee, and under questioning from Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut, she suddenly changed her tune.
My answer yesterday was based on my recollection, or the lack thereof, on the details that were posted there. I was not, and what was shared today reflects the fact that I was not directly involved with that part of the Signal chat.
So it's your testimony that less than 2 weeks ago, you were on a Signal chat that had all of this information about F-18s and MQ-9 Reapers and targets on strike, and you in that 2-week period simply forgot that that was there. That's your testimony?
My testimony is I did not recall the exact details of what was included there.
All of this, of course, is absolute manna from heaven for the Democrats. Senator Tammy Duckworth, a prominent Democrat from Illinois, has, within the last couple of hours, put out a statement saying Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, is a liar. There's a word between the letter A and the word liar that we can't use on family radio. This is so clearly classified info he recklessly leaked that could have gotten our pilots killed. He needs to resign in disgrace immediately. Tammy Duckworth is herself a military veteran. Hegseth and every other official who was included in this group chat must be subject to an independent investigation, she writes. If the Republicans won't join us in holding the Trump administration accountable, then they are complicit in this dangerous and likely criminal breach of our national security. Well, in the Senate, it is possible, just possible, that at least one Republican tectonic plate is shifting, because Senator Roger Wicker, who is the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, said that he has now decided that that committee should seek an expedited Inspector General investigation into the leak of the Signal group chat. And that is being seen as the first sort of big Republican beast up on Capitol Hill to at least evince a civic duty to dig into what has taken place here. The White House, as I say, continuing to try and make that story go away, which is one reason why President Donald Trump has hastily added an event to his calendar for the day at which he's going to be talking about the future of his tariff policy. We weren't expecting to hear that until later in the week, but I think that the White House is urgently now seeking to distract this city's attention and change the subject away from the humiliation that so many members of his inner circle have brought onto themselves, Steve.
Simon Marks, thank you very much.